Hey everybody, welcome to another town hall. Where you at, Jorrit?
Yay! Hey,
Your
looks
camera's
like
not
the
working.
camera broke down.
What happened?
I don't know.
Do you want to hit the link
It
again?
always happens, right? So I'm just
Yeah.
going to refresh.
Okay, I'll vamp. So welcome to it, everybody. We haven't. It's been another month, and we're back in. We've been actually the entire time, but back on the town hall, so we can talk about the things that we've accomplished and how much we've. Man, it's been a crazy month. Here you are. There you are. Perfect.
Man.
So, lot to go over. Let me quick do the intro for people who are finding us for the first time. If you don't know what YOM is yet, and gosh, just about everybody should at this point since we're winning all these awards. YOM is a decentralized cloud gaming network. We allow people who have a gaming rig at home to let us use their gaming rig to be a part of our network. And when they stream games through their rig to our network, we pay them for the amount of hours that they are letting us their machine. So it's a good way to make passive income if you own a gaming rig. We do that through selling a small device that goes with your rig to help make sure that the whole network is secure and your gaming rig is secure. But that's the gist of it. For game developers, again, there's a cloud network, which a lot of the cloud network industry is getting massive appeal now. Xbox, Nintendo, everybody's jumping into the waters, but they're all doing it with a central server, so they're all facing massive cost and scalability issues, both of which we've conquered, and we'll probably during the talk today go into that a little bit. But that's really the gist of it. If you're looking to get involved, if you're a game developer and you are looking to get your game to as many people as possible, shoot on over, give us a message. The key things for us being different from others is that we don't funnel you through a pinch point like a platform. You can actually put your game on your website and through Telegram, and we're going to talk even more about more ways that we've been cooking up later on in this talk. Matter of fact, I realized that intro video I've got to change quite a bit, really, because I took out the idea that we were only on Unreal because now that's been conquered. Talk about that in a second. And I took and I put in that we're going to Gamescom, but of course we've got back from Gamescom, which is what we're talking about today. So I got to update a little bit of that intro timer video. So much to do. Okay, so let me go through an update for the project itself, because that's kind of the first top of mind. Actually, I'm going to lean on you, Jorrit. If you saw the most recent message in our Telegram, there's more things from Ron to talk about. But a big push starting at the beginning of next week is we're making a big marketing push, because we're going into the period where we're selling our first physical nodes out into the market, and we're heading into TG. So big marketing push is getting started. What we've done is we've enlisted the help of a company called Unfungible, and they're going to help us run spaces, lots of spaces. I've been on a bunch. I was on 2 earlier today already. Next week it's going to be a real heavy regimen where at least 2 spaces a week that I'm a guest on a panel, or Jorrit will be a guest on a panel, and then one that we ourselves will host, where we'll bring in other projects and show them what technology we have and how they it's really talking about different narratives. Like some of the topics that we're throwing around already is, if you understand DePIN, you understand the future. AAA gaming quality experiences anywhere. What comes first, the game or the brand? I mean, each talk is going to have a specific theme all around, like the gaming space, the cloud gaming space, the DePIN space, and then how we put into, how we are a cornerstone for all those things, all those technologies coming together. So that's a big push that's starting next week as part of the big marketing effort that we're going to. Did I cover everything in that?
Well,
Go ahead.
I think so. This is like the general gist of what we've been working on. We can be maybe like a little bit more specific on the things that are currently ongoing in operations.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, sure. So there are a few things, right? So we have the organizing everything for the rollout, which includes also a logistical pipeline. It includes getting the right design and assembly company onboarded, distribution resellers, because we migrated away a little bit from the idea of selling directly from our website. And instead, we want to sell via resellers, because that just eases a lot of the distribution, whilst we can just focus on the protocol. And the distribution can happen entirely independent from any involvement on the protocol level. So we've been working very hard on that. We've also been working coordinating the distribution of the nodes together with QLs in the space. So they're mostly DePIN related QLs. Relevant target audience. They'll be doing unboxing videos in the coming period, going to showcase the power of YOM. Then going to show how to set up a node, getting the entire thing working end to end. That kind of bridges also in some of the technology that we've been working on, which is fine-tuning and updating, stabilizing the network, updating also the node middleware. We built a checker app, so you can easily see, okay, is your network, is your PC config, is that the right one with YOM? How many nodes can you run in parallel? And then following from that, you can make a prediction on how much yield you can earn with the network. It's going to be a very simple web-based applet, so you can just run that in the web. There will be a small binary running, very tiny, collecting all of the specs, collecting your network capabilities, and then before you buy a node whether you can actually run one. So that will be very important and relevant for you guys. In addition to that, I think lots of progress on a lot of tech components. We recently got out a Discord game bot. That means that the primer that Nvidia thought they would have with Epic Games actually goes to us. Now, of course, we don't have the PR power that they have, so they will still pretend that they would have the technology primer, but in actuality, we built it earlier than them. So
This is a good time to pop up the video to show.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's
All right,
show,
so
show
let
them
me,
the proof. So the proof is always important. Yeah,
yeah,
let's do that.
let me do that now. I don't have the audio version. Where did I put it?
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah.
This, that, and share.
Right. So this was
Please
a
talk over.
project developed by a partner. Do note that it has some trailing effect. I can hear myself by the way, Jeff.
Oh, do you? All right. Well, then can you hear me twice? This is the
no.
Discord window. Obviously, this is the game running inside of Discord. So I blurred out the name so that we didn't have our poor engineer get his inbox flooded with emails. So yeah, so this game created the K4 Rally, right? It's created by a partner of ours who very excited about having a multiplayer driving game on our network, and we're able to use their sample as our sample for testing inside of Discord. So now we've got both Discord and Telegram, and then I know as you're saying, we're going other places beyond this.
YOM.
Those two. There you go. Can you hear yourself better now?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that's better. Okay, yeah. So that's the primer. Video will be, of course, pushed to socials just to show off. It does have a little bit of a trailing effect, but that's related to the game. That's not related to the pixel streaming.
Yeah.
That's of course incredible. Any other points that we did? That's another big one. And Jeff already mentioned that because he was going to update the opener. We're no longer only on Unreal Engine. We can now also pixel stream any application. So anything from Unity, Godot, any custom engine, as well as anything that's procedurally generated with AI. So some of you may know about Genie 3. So any application like that, we can also pixel stream, which we think is also going to hold great importance, at least for metaverse-like or immersive experience content, not necessarily for games, because it's harder to control what's going on in these spaces. But that's an opportunity that we are at least now ready for. So that's the universal pixel streaming. We also applied for 3 patents, so we now officially have 3 patents pending on the topology of DePIN, on the neural net, the orchestration bit, that's the intelligence, the brains of the model, and also on the device. So the particular way we're encrypting the operating system on the device and authenticating with on-chain activity. That ensures also that potential competition or new entrants to the markets will have to face our patent wrath, which is, I would say, not typical to Web3 or blockchain, that projects would patent something, but it's definitely important to have something like this in your arsenal.
Yeah.
Yeah, we audited the token, so that's important. Some of you may have noticed on CoinMarketCap, you do actually already have the peak smart contract address, but we're going to remint with some new optimization, so that contract is going to get changed. It's a layer 0 protocol. That means liquidity, and we broadcasted that many times, will be on multiple chains. We're still considering which would be the primary chain. Obviously, Peak is our home, but also it won't have the most traders. So likely we'll opt for Base and Ethereum to support Peak. Solana is also still an option, but we cannot spread the liquidity too thin at the start. So just building that up as we go. And Base does have a lot of great launches recently. So that's there. We had a protocol requirement regarding it was called UPnP, which is a technical thing with opening your router so that you can stream content to the network. We managed to bypass that, so you don't need to configure anything on your router anymore. So we applied a new technique that allows us to allows any user to onboard just immediately plug and play. So there are no other requirements other than just meeting the minimum requirements of the system. You just plug it in, boot via your BIOS, and you're done, right? So you sync it with an app, and you can start mining, start earning. Yeah, I think that kind of completes it.
Is that all we did in this past month? Jeez,
No. This is just on the tech side, right? So, like on the business side, there's way more. And
crazy, yeah, it's crazy. It's been a very, very busy, fun week. And again, our engineering team just kind of been killing it. Can't say enough good things about the guys we have on that team, and Rohan leading it up. All right. Well, the main topic, but we still are getting a bunch of questions from the audience, from our community. So we'll probably bring those up here at the very end. But let's talk a little bit about Gamescom, because it ended up being even bigger than we thought it was going to be. But my question to you at the beginning was, I don't even know the answers. Have you been to Gamescom before yourself?
No, I haven't.
That was your first time.
Yeah.
No, we've been to other game conferences. Yeah. Well, so how did you compare to the ones you've been to before, and were you
this was really massive, right? So there's just halls and halls and halls and masses of people and youth moving from stage to stage. It almost felt like a festival. I didn't really appreciate the consumer bits. It was too crowded, too much noise, and too much show going on. So I nicely stayed in the business side of things. So I did peek in, but that was about it. And we met a lot of great people on the business side. My calendar was almost fully booked by a lot of publishers that want to get started on the YOM network. We do still have to hold them off a little bit because we still need to expand the amount of nodes on the network to be able to cater to all of the demand and the users that we can support on the network, right? So, but at least this is a good sign to potential node operators that they will be earning significant amount of tokens when they start using YOM.
Yeah, it's I'm so American centric, right? I always have to think that GDC's got to be the biggest gaming conference in the world, but it just turns out that's not the case. Gamescom was bigger. It was bigger by a fair amount, right? 350,000 attendees I think that dwarfs what GDC is. So America gives up the cup yet again.
And there were just so many startups and studios showcasing their game. There was a competition as well for studios and startups. And the nice thing is we got selected in the top 10. So that was amazing. Yeah, that was based on the data room, the decks, the proposition. But do keep in mind, this was audited by a team of experts, VCs within the game tech industry, right? So they
Right.
really understand, okay, what is important to the growth and further evolvement of the space. So we got the opportunity to pitch there, and Andy was on stage, and he completely delivered the way Andy does,
Right.
obviously,
Right.
in a way that charmed the audience and charmed everyone.
Yeah.
And then we won. I mean, that was also surprising to us because there were so many applicants. And as you know, Web3 has a bit of a reputation, bad of a reputation in the gaming scene.
Somewhat
So the
earned.
fact, yeah,
Yeah.
so somewhat definitely earned. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot of gambling and play to earn and bounty hunters, and
Yeah.
it's a mess of wrong incentives. But it is pretty well, it's a pretty good news, not only for YOM, but also to blockchain in general, that a blockchain based company, Web3 based company with crypto in its main proposition is able to win out of those 300 startups, the Gamescom conference, right? Like
But
that is
yeah.
incredible. Yeah.
So Andy thought that it was the first time Web3 has won. It's not the case. Last year's game won, and last year's game had NFTs in it, so it wasn't the
Did
very
it?
first
Okay.
time. Yeah, but I completely agree that the idea that and we are pretty good about being a bridge. Like you don't if you're a game development studio, you don't need to have any kind of Web3 knowledge to deploy on our network. We
Right.
handle all that stuff seamlessly for you, quietly in the background. You're just a regular game company because we knew that forcing them to like learn how to buy cryptos and then spend those cryptos is just it's just a wall we shouldn't make them climb, right? So normal Web2 gaming studio, don't no worries. Our network is open to you and there's no friction at all for it. And I think that was and the other important part you pointed out was these the panelists, the people who judged, there weren't just it wasn't a popularity contest. These are people who actually know the industry really well and know what's good for the industry. And it turns out what we've been saying for a while that a decentralized cloud is going to be very, very good for the industry.
Yeah, and I mean, it also we can prove that, right? Like there was just so much interest in our proposition. Now there is interest in cloud gaming in general as a
Right.
proposition. It really feels like this industry, especially, is growing, evolving around the cloud gaming. A lot of articles
Yeah.
about it, recent articles, very high projection, market growth projections in the coming decade. So that's massive. So yeah,
Now you need to inject. If you want to keep up with those stories about cloud gaming and about DePIN, we have a newsletter now that we're putting out. If you haven't signed up for the newsletter, go to our website. There's a pop-up that should come out, ask you for your email address. We'll put you on the mailing list, and you'll get to see those updates on all the articles and what you were talking about. What was
right.
the last projection for cloud gaming? Compound annual growth rate was like almost 40%, right?
Yeah,
39% over the
yeah,
next
yeah. We
5
were
years.
about 10 times more conservative in our estimations, and then all of these articles popped up, and then all of these. So the big topic, right? Like, why is cloud gaming so popular right now? Is because the networks have been changing, the protocols are changing. One of the biggest pain points in the gaming industry is user acquisition. It's really expensive to get exposure to your brand. Steam is a very old school legacy way of distributing content, right? So you still need to pay upfront, download, install. You need the beefy gaming rig. You need the XYZ, right? So there's DRM also pre-installed. It's in terms of findability for publishers and studios. By the way, you're entirely dependent on what Steam decides to promote, right? So it's a massive lock-in.
Right.
So it's so cloud gaming is definitely a good step in the adoption, in user adoption of gaming and the discovery and findability for especially for studios, the small guys, but also the publishers.
Yeah. So you were around with our BD guys when they were talking to all
Yeah,
these different game studios. I know part of a very strong push for them, or one of the hot button issues that got noticed right away was the idea that if right now players get stuck into their game and they spend all their time into the game they've invested themselves in, that very little bit of their leisure time is spent trying something new.
yeah,
And our guys are saying to all these developers, user acquisition is really the hardest part for you. If you again, another reason why we don't have a funnel or a pinch point. We instead say put it through Telegram, put it through Discord, put it up on any website, is because now the ability to try the sample, the doors are wide open. You can just you might get it just as a pop up when you're watching a YouTube video. Oh, it's on a sample game can come up, and you start playing it and realize, oh, this is something that I want to get, and it funnels you over to the download.
Right. So that is indeed the instant play proposition, right? So which especially shines on the discovery mode of things. But we also discovered a second product, right, which integrates the instant play, right? But it ties in with the ease of distribution, right? So rather than distributing entire binaries to end users and tracking codes and being entirely dependent on that, like publishers can, a la Netflix style, just broadcast a proposition containing, you have to imagine, right? So publishers, they have sometimes like hundreds of games in their portfolio, smaller games, larger games, specifically catered. So that proposition would be specifically catered to their own portfolio. So you would go to a subscription-based model like Netflix, where you pay, let's say, $10 a month, similar to Xbox Live, right? And you get access to all of the content for free immediately, right? And then there could be like premium passes, different types of models, and there would be aggregators of that too, right? So the moment
that they themselves own, the publisher himself owned the aggregator.
It could be so the publishers will own their own aggregator, their own publishing suite, but there will also be parties, just like drawing the parallel also with Amazon Prime, that also features specific subscriptions like Sky Showtime, right? It will be similar to that. So there can be aggregators that say, oh, okay, we're going to put all of the games of EA and Sega and Skyhook Games all together in a single publishing or a single portal. So like 300 games, and we tie that into a shared subscription model, right? So these things can happen. And what the enabling technology is cloud gaming. But the problems of cloud gaming are still there, right? So there is still the scaling and the costs tied to that, which we which we are solving and have solved with YOM.
Yeah, I'm about to drop that Medium article that we just finished up about the whole sit and wait for a machine to become available on a Friday night. I had another conversation with another group earlier this week that as soon as I mentioned NVIDIA GeForce Now, they were like, yeah, but Friday nights are hard for me. He's down in New Zealand. He was down in New Zealand. It's like, it's really, really hard for me because, there's not the machines reaching me is just they don't have enough for this area on a Friday night. Right. I'm like, yeah, we know. That's part of the reason why we solve it the way we do, right, with the decentralized network.
Yeah, and especially decentralized is going to shine with 6G, right? We're still on 5G. Most nodes will still need to connect to their ISP in order to then connect to a user of the node, a consumer player on the other side. So there is still that rerouting there, right? So while we do solve the scalability and cost equation, and we don't pay for bandwidth, all of that we solve. The latency bit will be resolved with 6G, right? So 6G, why is that significant? Because right now there is still about 20 milliseconds, 30 milliseconds in ping to the end, to the node or towards the player, right? If you're a node. Right. But with 6G, that gets scaled down all the way to 1 or 2 milliseconds. And why is that? Because you no longer need to hop to intermediary servers or ISPs. You can directly connect to your neighborhood. And this is especially well suited to when you're living in a rural area. So Jeff, for example, Jeff is a farmer in his spare time, and he's not very well connected to let's say the more urban regions of the world. So if he puts out a node and his neighbor wants to play games, his neighbor Netflix will be lagging for Jeff's neighbor. Playing games would be super fast for his neighbor because he would be directly using the 6G line. Right. So that
is interesting that that one report we saw on cloud gaming was talking about the growth areas and how right now the Asian region has kind of already adopted it. They're already on their way and pretty well saturated. But places like Western Europe, North America, South America, and Middle East are all growing areas of real interest, because there's a lot of, just even catching up to what they're doing in Asia brings in a lot of revenue for the whole space, right?
Right. I do like one of the questions, by the way, in the chat about building a console. For a while we still have in mind, we are the crypto console, right? So rather than owning a PlayStation or Xbox, you're owning a node and you're playing on the crypto gaming engine. Now, what Francis is probably also referring to is the physical grip, right? Similar to a. Now, the nice thing is you don't actually need the Steam Deck, right? So the thing with the Steam Deck is it has a relatively powerful GPU, but with YOM, you can actually just plug in some controllers on the left and the right. It has the feeling of a Steam Deck, but you can just plug it in your phone. So it becomes super accessible. And you can cast it to your Chromecast, right? So you can play it anywhere. So there's no need for draining the battery of your Steam Deck. You can just play it lightweight anywhere.
Knocking down the walls to gameplay has really been kind of the thing that we keep on going back and forth about, like not having to go out and buy for the player anyways. Obviously node operator has to get the hardware, but for the player, not having to go out and buy a special controller or having to go out and buy a headset in the case of VR, all those things, we keep on saying, no, go to what they currently have. They currently have a computer with a monitor, right? Or they currently have a phone. Let's make sure that these high quality games get to where they currently are. And then after time, we'll scale up into these other areas.
No, that's exactly it. And it is true, right? The moment we expand our company, our ecosystem, new components would be added to the mix, right? It's not a single company that's building the protocol. We're building at the same time alliances and separate entities to support the growth of the entire ecosystem as a whole, right? So we are in the background with a separate entity also working on and designing an aggregator, right? But we don't want the aggregator to compete or interfere with the operations of the protocol. At the same time, there can be similar to Solana phone. There can be, let's say, a YOM kind of a device, right, which may include a lot of NFTs from our Web3 gaming partners. But and we haven't. So I'm just saying that here, like as an example, we're not actually doing that right now at the moment, except for the aggregator bit, right? So we are doing that on the background. Anything that we see, okay, is a very, is going to allow us to adopt more publishers in the market is our key focus, because that's the key bit also for node operators, right? Like as a node operator, you want to be paid for hosting your node in the network. And if the network activity is low, then nothing is going to happen, right? So on test network right now, there's hardly any network activity because it's a test network. We're not deploying serious publishers. We're just deploying demo and proof of concepts from some of our studio partners on the network, just to assess latency globally.
That's another update to make. So wave 2 of the test net of the testers, anyways, is getting ready to go out. I just provisioned a couple of the drives here, and I know that Ron's got some over there ready to mail out too. So we're like a day or two away. I think we're waiting for some phone numbers to help with the shipping. But wave 2, so the alpha test network should be expanding. We're going to hit 3 more in North America. I think 3 more in Europe, South America, India, and one in Australia. Was one going on to Australia. So we're getting spread out wider again to help prove out this test network. But in very short order, mainnet, will be coming up and taking over that test net. I think we still probably need to have testnet up for developers who want to test out their product before they go live with it. That's kind of good to have, but I think it'll be a little more closed off than the current version of testnet.
Yeah. So our current testnet, with let's say the last patches, we will promote that to mainnet. Then there will be a new testnet and there will be a devnet, right? So devnet's internal. Then when we approve of the changes, get pushed to a testnet, and then after testnet is stable, it gets pushed to mainnet.
Right.
That's the.
All right. So we got questions. Well, before I do that, anything more from Gamescom that you want to kind of put out there? I did have that question. Do you think it was better for meeting publishers, better for meeting investors? Is a little bit of both? Like, how was Gamescom for you?
Well, it was definitely on the publisher side very strong. Now saying that, when we were in the investment circle, obviously the investors were there as well. Um, but primarily the event is about publishers and studios. So that's
Yeah.
where the main activity is.
And it's a consumer event too, right? A lot of the consumers just checking out the next up and coming games.
Yep.
Did Epic have a big booth? Or
Yeah,
did you even know?
they
Yeah,
did.
it did.
So it was
Yeah.
interesting, right? So you had multiple stages, and the larger the publisher, the more gates they had around their stage. So, and you have the likes of Epic Games that were just a complete wall and with a
Yeah.
door, and there was somebody standing at the door. And if you don't have an invitation, you can't get in. And inside are all of the marketing people, and they're just getting protected by the influx of same for Tencent, same for. But we managed to get into several big ones
Yeah.
because we had appointments with them. But
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, we got John and James attached. It's certainly helping.
yep.
All right. Let's jump into some of these questions, right? We've got a number of questions that came out from the community, and I know that just one came up in this role, but so there's a lot about TGE in here, and I think that we have to preface all of it with saying we're still putting together all the full TGE plan. Is that fair to say?
Well, I would say we do have the campaigns lined up. It's just we are in the assembly. So in the assembly, there's a little bit back and forth on the compliancy and the design stuff. So getting the right stickers in place, that takes some time. We lost a little bit of time on that with our partner. I'm not hating on the partner, by the way; they're doing an excellent job. But yeah, it does delay our delivery of the notes to our influencers. We would have wanted to start on that the start of August. The devices are still not there for the influencers. That will mean also that we are going to delay TG for about a month as well, just to make sure that the influencers are well prepared and can create the right content around it. Because there is no point in TG if you're a node operator and your product is not getting unboxed at the same time.
Yeah. I think it's a smart move that we're doing to make sure that we have the full marketing push and enough time for that marketing to soak in before we launch into the token. So that's a bit of alpha that people are going to probably chew on a bit. But I think that people will understand. Like, we want to make sure that we're supporting the TG with everything we can from the marketing side, and those KOLs and that unboxing is a big part of it. Is there a public or private token sale before TG? And do we have any details on those?
There will be an IDO platform. We haven't done purely private token sales, right? We did say we were going to do it. There will be an equity plus. Well, there is an equity plus token warrant option. So if you invest 2/3 of your investment into equity, basically signaling that you're there for the long term, then you will get 1/3 in the token allocation. That ensures that we get the most strategic and long-term investors onboarded. Because the problem is with private token sales, it really incentivizes pump and dumps and people and investors or backers that are just there for the TG in the short term. So, and we really, really don't want that. We really want to get the right strategic support for the long term. So
I've said this a number of times in a lot of the spaces we've had this week that I've been in this week. It's just that, I'm kind of hoping that speculation and the speculators market has gone away. And we're now at the stage where we're back to supporting, or maybe not back to supporting, but people are getting wise about where they invest their money, what tokens they invest in. And that is, it's not vaporware they're getting into. It's an actual product with actual utility in a market that's actually got volume, like the gaming market, which, really, I mean, I can't think of a better example. I still can't think of a better example of a market that has volume over cloud gaming.
But we do also have to realize currently, right? So we are in an industry where there's a lot of movement, but right now in the Web3 space, in the purely crypto token industry, it's pretty much dead, right? People are not really speculating, they're not investing, there are almost hardly any volumes. The FTVs are super low, which is in a way also a signal. Okay, you got to buy because everyone is afraid. But it is also the reality of things that we have to take into consideration at the TG, right? So we are pushing on the expansion of the network. We are pushing on the publishers. There will be a lot of tokens bought indirectly from the market by those publishers because, per game, like the average game on the network would consume 40K a month in network activity, right? So that's 40K a month of buying power per game, right? So imagine
Right.
a publisher with a lineup of 50 games, right? Like that is massive. So that would immediately push us to the top 10. So that's definitely not going to happen. But the potential is definitely there. Yeah, and 5% of all of that value is permanently burned. So it's the most aggressive and deflationary ecosystem with real utility and real engagement on the front end in the market, right? So even, and I don't want to hate on Bitcoin because there are a lot of Bitcoin maxis out there, but Bitcoin is not deflationary, right? It's not inflationary, but it's also not deflationary, right? So the moment you build a deflationary coin, then it has real value appreciation over time, right? So the more activity, the more the asset increases in value. It's similar to oil, right? Like the more you use oil, the less oil there's going to be available on the market.
Right.
And that's
And thank you for not hating on Bitcoin because I'm
yeah,
close to Bitcoin maxi.
I also got a lot of feedback after I started pushing the Bitcoin maxis out there. So.
But anyways, for all those reasons, like we were trying very hard to make sure that there's not like a bunch of ways for the token to get dumped right after TG because it affects the way that it's obviously has an effect on the psychology of people who might be thinking about supporting the network by owning a node, and we really need to avoid that. So it's a big reason why we're structured the way we're structuring our TG. And so the question was, will it be trading immediately right after TG? And I think the answer to that is yes, right? There's going to be liquidity out there.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Immediately. And the question is, okay, how many different ecosystems? This is a more modern approach. What we're doing, we're saying actually, okay, rather than adding centralized exchanges to the mix, which have been proven to not be very effective to user growth, we're adding blockchain ecosystems to the mix. So we're going from blockchain ecosystem to blockchain ecosystem, and then connecting with the main DEXs that are tied in with those ecosystems. And that drives value. We get support from the blockchain ecosystems. It's all on chain, so people can also monitor what's going on. So because usually a CEX, a centralized exchange, means insider dump, right? That can't happen on a DEX because all wallets are transparent. So in a way, that's the better approach. But I think it has changed. In the past, it was kind of like a requirement. You have to get a centralized exchange in. Oh shit, I froze.
Oh no, you froze.
Refresh. 1 sec.
Okay. Yeah, I flipped out for a quick second there too. I don't know what happened on my end. Man, what was he even saying? Here we go. He's back.
Yeah.
There you
go. My camera is still not working. 1 sec.
Uh-oh. And then let's see, we'll get other questions about that. Who knows? There's a chance to often so another question came up. Here, let me bring you back up.
Yeah, I'm back. Okay.
There you go. The next question was, are we thinking about selling nodes in YOM? And I don't think that's the case immediately. Am I right?
So there are two things, right? So it's the NFT, the licenses, right? So the node licenses, and there are the devices. So for the device, we're using resellers because we don't want to be involved too much on the logistics. And on minting, the licenses will happen. The unlocks will happen from our own website. The unlocks are coordinated also with network demand. So the moment we achieve more than 60% utility, we start unlocking more nodes to the network, more licenses, more devices. So that's kind of how it works. And then it normalizes again to that 50% utility rate, which we are targeting for our reward estimations. So that is on the distribution of the licenses. Obviously, if you want to acquire a license and you don't have access to a license, you can buy it via marketplace, right? So it's up to the marketplaces to support us. Users can list their NFTs on marketplaces. They can trade it, can send to other users. So if you want one, there is on the secondary market. There's probably going to be a license that you can purchase. These are perpetual license. So whereas with a lot of DePIN projects that only focus on the supply side, is that these licenses are virtual, right? So there's a virtual node that's actually just a farming pool that just mints new tokens to the network. So it devalues the entire value of, let's say, the tokens on the market. With us, that's very different, right? So with us, it's a buyback from the market. So it appreciates the value in the market, and then you get your tokens distributed. So it's exactly the inverse effect, and that is very important with DePIN projects.
Yeah, I mean, I like when we point out that we really are people who are earning YOM are their proof of work. Their machines are actually doing work in order to earn that YOM. So it's not that they're not putting new tokens into circulation. They're earning it from the pool that has already been generated. But the question here was, are we thinking about selling those nodes or those licenses in YOM tokens? So I don't know that
No.
it's even bad. I don't think we're planning on doing it, but I don't know that it's helpful or not helpful to do it
No,
that way.
it's not. It doesn't contribute really to the token utility, right? So people just want stability of a price. We're working with a lot of resellers that need a very clear and transparent retail price. If we now say, okay, cost so much YOM tokens, imagine that, right? So let's say we start selling the Nano device on Amazon. That Amazon lists the price of YOM in YOM tokens. That wouldn't work. So we have to bring that back to USDC. So we have a clear objective understanding of what the retail price is. And then the YOM token fulfills different roles, right, within the ecosystem, where it is indeed very important.
One thing that you mentioned before, but I want to point it out too, that checker app that we're making available through the website, and we'll tell people. So, if you're not fully understanding the way the system works, depending on your gaming rig, and your internet speed and a few other things, you might be able to run 2 nodes off your machine. You might be able to run 8. You might be able to run 12. Right. So how many you run? That's one of the aspects of the checker app is going to tell you, or give you a better estimate of, anyways. So if you're running a single node and you're like, well, wait a minute, I would like to earn more because we pay per node that's operating. And if you can run 8 nodes concurrently, you're best to do that because your earnings are more. But you have to go out and purchase those additional 7 licenses to go with the one that comes with your node. So anyways, all that is informed by the checker app. You're not having to guess. We will help you find out how much you can do to maximize your earnings.
Yep. No, exactly.
There's a question about bulk packaging, but it sounds like the question is, let's see, someone like 50,000 tokens airdropped, 2 nodes, 2 rigs for
I like it.
1,500.
I like
You
it.
like it, huh?
It's a bundle idea, but this is something that our resellers should offer, right?
Yeah.
That they offer that as a bundle. Let's say fresh miners, 2 packages. You
I'm
either
not
buy it
clear
or
in
not
the
buy
question
it.
though. When he says rig, is he talking about a gaming rig? I don't think we want to get in the business of
Well,
selling the hardware.
well, if we don't have to be involved in that, so let's say Alienware is selling YOM nodes,
Oh,
right?
then yes, absolutely. Go right
It's
ahead.
up to them to build the bundle. Yeah, we don't. Well, we care because it will allow us to sell more, but it's really up to them to combine those products.
Yeah. Let's see. Could the team present 3 example scenarios using the current tokenomics from the perspective of a nano owner with 5 licenses running 24 hours a day for 30 days during low activity, moderate activity, and high activity? I think that's what it's on the website. It's on the calculator on the website, right? All of that is that we even give you the range, the low to high.
Yeah, you can calculate yourself. There will be a more advanced tooling with the checker app. When the checker app goes live, it will be put in every product description. It will be on the casing of the Nano device, so you can already estimate that beforehand. You don't have to do anything. It will actually run as a tool in your PC. Right now, on the online tool, you have to fill in like an estimation of your VRAM capacity, which is a little bit technical for some people. Low activity, yeah. So yeah, obviously during so initially in the bootstrap period, there will be this timing period where we need to onboard a publisher and get the right amount, and at the same time we need a global network of, so it's like a chicken and egg story, right? So what we are going to do is we are going to provide a minimum payout of YOM tokens at the very start, right, which is going to decline over time. So that way we can, and in the past we set the minimum payout in the protocol, but then we internally also decided, yeah, like the only real utility of a minimum payout would be all the way in the front, right? When you have to solve that chicken and egg scenario.
Right.
So we removed it from the protocol. Instead, we're just going to airdrop YOM tokens to our node operators.
Okay. The I wanted to kind of point out too that as much as that calculator can help to give an estimate, there are other factors that aren't going to be part of the calculator, like how many nodes are operating in your area, how many games are active in your area. If you're the only node in New York City, you're going to do a whole lot better than if you're one of 400 nodes in New York City, and the calculator won't catch all that stuff. So you have to kind of
It
remember it is an estimate.
Right. Yeah, that is indeed right now. The calculator doesn't take that into account, but right now you also don't have too much to fear. But at some point, those features need to be added so you can kind of like see, okay, what are neighbor nodes earning? So what could I potentially be earning on the network? But we need the data to be able to provide that.
There is, of course, the map always that they can look at that shows like which areas are currently got how many nodes are operating, right? All right, so that's a question that was given beforehand. Let me take a look at our chat and see what's listed up in the chat. So nice comments, nice comments. Should have pulled them out. People selected yet from the form to get a YOM device. That I think the form that he's asking about is, have we picked our wave 2 testers, and we have got our first wave, our first group in wave 2. So what we did was we sent out the form, had about 300 people fill it out. We went to the ones that are in regions that we need to be and that could go 24/7. We found a whole bunch of those, sent out. We signed an NDA. Some people didn't respond to that, signing an NDA, so that they got filtered down. And then it was filled down a little bit more from what was the other question we asked? We asked, are you on Ethernet or Wi-Fi? Some people were still on Wi-Fi, so that filtered down more. And if we got down to the small group that we have, are we still going to? We still have that list, and if we decide that we want to go into like a deeper wave 2, we will certainly pull from that list. But we're not actively sending out and asking for more applicants. So if you've applied and you haven't heard back from us yet, it's a good chance that you unfortunately were passed over. For people who had either better connectivity or they're in an area that we really wanted to make sure that we penetrated. Francis asked, wouldn't electricity cost a lot more from running 7 nodes as opposed to 1 node? Yeah. But then the earnings also more.
It scales about proportionally, right? So it's about 16% of your rewards if you're living, let's say, in the Western Hemisphere. So it is significant. It's a significant cost, but the reward is multiple times higher than your electricity costs, right? And there are a lot of ways to also get your electricity bill down. For example, during the summer, you can, if you invest in green energy, and Jeff is smiling because he does not live in Europe, so there are no ways for him to do that.
No, but again, I'm hitting more and more stories of these data centers being built in the U.S. that's causing everyone's electric bill to be jacked up. So again, this is a problem that we're solving by having a decentralized network.
But it's about 16%. So you are making significantly more money. There is also, you have to take into account depreciation of the GPU. Now, there are cases where the GPU is declining over time. This is for heavy usage. But yeah, it really takes years and years for it to really accrue any significant damage or tear or wear. So yeah.
Francis is also asking, does the upload speed make a difference? Because he put in 1 gigabyte upload speed and the calculator didn't show a change. Is there a chance that maybe the calculator's got a bug? Or
no, the calculator doesn't have a bug. So what the bandwidth does, it's just a constrainer of the maximum amount of nodes you can run on the network. So with 1 gig upload speed, you're super safe, right? Because every concurrent stream is only 15 Mbit per second. So at the max. So your network is definitely not throttling you. In the checker app, there's another test we do, which is a buffer upload test, which checks for your ping at high capacity, high network usage. Which is important because we want the ping to be as low as possible. We're implementing inside of the SSDs certain mechanisms to improve the buffer bloat. But let's say you are running those streams and at the same time you're watching 4K television. Like that could influence your latency. Although watching 4K television shouldn't make that much of an impact because that's on the downstream. But if you're uploading torrents or uploading files to the network, or you're casting, or you're in 4K video conference, that will impact your network, right?
Right.
So we do the test in advance, simulating you're under that load, so we can understand, okay, what's constraining you. Most routers have automatically this thing where it flags certain or prioritize certain flagged streams. Our streams are flagged, but not everyone uses a router. So some people are directly on the modem. So then we do have that test to ensure that you have a stable connection to the network.
One last question that gets asked is, are we hiring at YOM?
We're always hiring the best people at YOM.
Yeah. If you have talent, yes, we'd like to speak to you. But it's we can be selective, I guess I'd say it that way. Yeah.
Right.
All right. I think I got through all the questions. If I didn't, I apologize. Please put them in the chat and everything. So again, something to look out for. Next week, this time slot is going to be a Spaces, not streamed through YouTube or video on X or on LinkedIn. And it's going to kick off. It's our kickoff of the Spaces tour. I think next week's the topic is pretty much an overview of YOM, the next era of cloud gaming. It's a way to kind of onboard people who have not yet heard of us again. Oh, they're pointing out that you have a new look every time.
Yeah, that's funny.
Hey, don't even call my mustache. I've got the big beards gone. I'm down to a mustache. Is that not noticeable to anybody? My wife notices, and she.
I noticed.
Yeah, thank you. No, wait. There is one last question. Regarding the 6G technical disruption, how suitable is the current settings and tech for the YOM network? Is it going to take time and some additional adjustments to get?
It's already natively. So the biggest hurdle right now is it will take time for the rollout, right? So it takes a couple of years. So that means to get from 30 milliseconds to sub 4 milliseconds. Yeah, we need that 6G. Then there is another thing that we're working on. We cannot say too much about it. It's very experimental, but it does a client-side trick. So it does something in the video stream to already pre-predict the next frame with artificial intelligence, right? So that gives the perception as if the latency is native, right? Especially when you're moving the camera, when it's high action, racing, that's very important to get the latency as low as possible. So you can trick the system by predicting already the next frame, and then it will be filled in by the rest of the pixel stream. So that's super cool technology, and I think that is with better neural networks on the image side, we will be able to do that entirely locally, and that will really bring it on the same level as native gaming.
But can't talk too much about it. But you just gave them
yeah. If let's say a competing cloud platforms listening to this talk, right, they can actually try to decipher what I'm saying and try to build.
I don't think that they. I think that they. Think they. There's so much that they would have to do to catch up to where we are now. Right now, it's impossible.
Right, and fundamentally, you still want to bring the latency just down to as slow as possible. So.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for showing up again. We will talk to everyone soon. We'll do the whole thing where we do clips of this and everything. But that is the town hall for this week. Be good, and we'll talk to you again soon. Look for all the Spaces announcements, and get out there and share this with everybody. Join our Discord, join our Telegram if you haven't done that yet. Join the newsletter mailing list. That's a big one for us now. We're trying to push that out and spread the word to all your friends to get some eyes on this, on what we've built and where we're going with this. All right.
Okay,
Cheers,
cool.
everyone.
Cheers.